And they said to my agent, would Brian be interested in doing this thing called the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle movie? So they told me about that, and I said, I don't do horror films. At the time, I didn't want to do horror films. So I said, I'm not doing a horror film. And they go, no. It's about these little turtles who are in the sewer, a little ooze drops on them, and they start growing, and they become these karate badasses with a little surfer bent. And I go, yeah, I think I can do that.
No, he didn't. But what he did do was he gave me my street cred about it, because I did not know about the comic books. I didn't know about the cartoon. And I had to keep leaving set as early as possible on Fridays to go fly to Wilmington, North Carolina. And at a certain point, he looked at me and he was like, what is going on with you? You are always trying to slip out of here. We all want to be in the movie. And I was like, no, I'm going and doing this other film. And he said, what's it called? And I was like, I have to say it out loud. I'm doing a movie called Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. And he said, what? And I said, it's a really cool script. It's a very interesting story. It's called Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. And his eyes just lit up, and he was like, they're making a movie of that? And he was so excited because he had every comic.
Really?
Yeah, he had the very first one. And so he didn't really give me advice. What he did do is he worked with production to get me out on Fridays and then help shoot me out so that I could go do the other movie. And then when the film premiered, he flew down with his family from San Francisco and surprised me, and it was pretty exciting.
That is incredible.
Yeah, he was quite a mentor.
It was grueling. The costume weighed 70 pounds. From morning to lunch break, we would lose 5 pounds every day. It could eat like a monster. And all this technology was pretty new at that point, and they hadn't really anticipated, the physical challenges of it. But I will say that as grueling as it was to be in the costume, not always, but a lot on an active day, it really helped me create Raphael. Just that angst. It was like, it was on tap. Like it was right there. And so, it definitely made my job easier on that level.
Sam Rockwell?
Yeah? Skeet Ulrich was also in the film, yeah.
Kids on screen smoking cigarettes?
That's it, man.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
There's something about I was only in the first one, but there's something about that there are actors creating in the suits that is the reason that we're here today.
Sure.
Because you can feel the beings kind of emerging, and CGI is impressive, but there's no soul. And so if they can cool the suits down a little bit, I'm in.
If they were to do this with practical effects, the motors, all the electronics inside those heads, we're now 35 years down the line.
Absolutely.
It would probably look almost photorealistic if they wanted to. So, and we live in a time now where they use CG instead of making movies.
Yep.
Instead of making a real movie. Look, talking to you guys, okay, the Spy Kids joke I made earlier. Truthfully, though, how many movies aimed at kids came out since 1990, and how many of them have the support and love of not only people that are the demographic, but adults are still watching this movie, and I don't think it's entirely nostalgia. I think it's because they made a good movie.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
But also, it encapsulated love. The love between the brothers, the love they had for Splinter. I mean, and as Josh says, you know, there was a soul that was captured, you know, as opposed to anything that was, you know, that came later. That's why I think it still resonates to this day. You know, it's kind of an amazing thing is that when it premiered, it was, first of all, it was just a juggernaut from day one. The first weekend was the highest grossing independent film in the history of film, which is amazing. And not only that, it finished out as the most, as the highest grossing, the most successful independent film in the history of film by the time it was done. And it was because, and here, what makes it even more interesting is that the audience was paying, the primary audience were kids paying half price, coming back over and over and over again. And I really think it had
If it was a grown-up movie, that $150 million that it'd make would be double that in 1990 money.
And I think there was something about in the movie that everyone can relate to. But I think at the core of it, it was the soul and the heart that was on screen.
So these, I talk about this a lot at these convention things, is we're here not because we're promoting the movie, because it came out 35 years ago. We're here to hear everybody's story, not just ours, but yours. And what I've noticed among the Turtleverse, the Turtle Moonity, the Turtle community, the Turtle Moonity, is every story, not only is the movie about family, like Brian said, every story is about family, about how this movie came into their lives. And I've heard everything from, you know, my dad and I didn't especially get along, but boy, did we bond over this. And I hear a lot, and so the central story attracts cool people who have a great story about their family. And I think that's part of the enduring deal with this.
Just their relationship with April.
That's really what it is.
I mean,
yeah.
That really...
Although not once do they mention in the film, and by 3, Michelangelo's really putting the moves on a human. I would like to share a special word with all of you in the Turtle Moonity. Cloaca. No, not at all.
Yes, it does.
No.
It does. It belongs on pizza.
What do you guys say?
Next
Pineapple
door to
on
the
pizza?
ham.
No? Yes? All right.
I wish I had. They did give me my forearms, but they've turned to
Decomposed?
powder. Yeah.
All that
Yeah.
sweat.
Yeah.
I have a couple things. I have the earrings that I wore, and I have a picture that was in my apartment. And
On sale
I
now.
would give anything to have kept the drawings. I wish I had kept those. I think I probably could have, but we never thought that would mean something.
Brian, Robby, you guys didn't take anything?
I don't have anything from the set, but I have to say something amazing. It's when the film came out, they had these little merchandise toys for like $2.95, $3.95, $4.95. So I'd go out and buy a bunch of those things and start them giving out to friends, give them out to people, give them out all that kind of stuff, right? And some people that come to see us and they have the same original toys. You see, some of them have price tags on them like $300, $350 for the same thing that was like $4.50 ago. Oh my gosh, if I just kept half the ones I gave out, I'd be so in good shape. No.
Awesome.
I would say it's the farmhouse scenes. Really, really love that because we were a little away from the chaos of the set and the crickets and the water and all of that. And it was, for me, that's so much the heart of the film.
Yeah, farmhouse scene, heartfelt.
Yeah, I would say farmhouse scene too, and also walking in and saying, damn.
Yeah.
Much louder than that.
By the way, at these things, a lot of people have told me that when they were 7 or whenever they saw this movie, when you said damn, they would immediately, and the look is always the same. It's great. I was watching it with my mom or my dad, and he said damn, and I went, and the parent looked down and went, don't worry, we're all right, we're going to be fine. So that's pretty amazing. Mine is when they come through in the sewer in the very beginning and the bossa nova, all that stuff. I think it does a really great job of establishing the hierarchy of what you're going to see for the next hour and a half.
For me, I grew up in what was called Alphabet City. It was the toughest neighborhood in New York City. And physically, everybody, because it was very dangerous, there was a lot of drugs and a lot of murder and everything, but everybody was trying to be bigger than they were, and somehow that physicality that I created with Raphael, the voice was just an extension of that New York guy, period.
Well, the way I did it, I just kind of raised it up and kind of made it go like this. So cowabunga, dude.
Yeah.
So what you're saying is that Leonardo was going through adolescence.
No, you didn't see me grab myself tightly. That's how. So that's how.
I had a recurring role on Law and Order, and so I was doing that, and I started doing a lot of other TV stuff, and I loved that I was part of the first movie, but I didn't want to continue working in a suit. I would say, like Judith mentioned, we were working in a studio, in these sewers, and it was just a breath of fresh air. Just to be there. The house was so comforting. So it gave us breath.
Same. I also think at that point, you guys had gotten a lot. I mean, Josh spent his time in a bathtub, at the beginning at least. But everybody was...
Not a bad job.
Not a bad job. But everybody was more comfortable in their suits. There was more freedom of movement, but it was also where we really got to explore our characters more. And it was when I really got a chance to play with Elias. And that was so much fun.
We were all separate. Yeah, they did every character one at a time. And I think it's a kind of a testament to the ability of, I'm going to take myself out of the equation. I'm going to talk about the other guys.
He's talking about himself. Keep going.
It's a testament to their ability that you can watch this thing and it was put together in a piecemeal fashion, and yet it all sounds like they're in the same room.
However, just to add to that, the second and third one that Robby and I did, all 3 original movies, we actually were in the booth all together as well.
When?
We were with Corey. We were with.
Did?
We sure were.
Robby.
Yeah.
I don't remember that.
Yeah, I do.
Oh. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
But I'm much younger.
I had a unique experience with it because I wasn't a voiceover actor, but I had to pretty much dub the entire movie. Wow. And it's something called ADR, Automated Dialogue Recording. I had never done it before. They flew me from New York to LA, and I had to do ADR on the entire movie in 8 hours. And it was so painful.
That is hard to do.
And I had never done it before. So my learning, I'm amazing at it now. But then, so it was a little bit difficult for me when I watched the movie the first time because I could see where, I was just trying to get the beeps right. You have 3 beeps, and then you got to say your words, and it's got to match what's coming out of your mouth, and then you have to recreate the performance, and it was daunting. So being able to just go in and say the words, and you don't have to. That was probably the easier job.
So, what are we going to do tonight, Brain?
Same thing we do every night, Pinky. Watch Fandom Spotlite videos and then take over the world.
Hey, God, that's great! And maybe we should tell them all to have fun?
And follow their fandom. Then bow before my genius.